Hi, my name is Joe Fleming, and I'm the owner of Airbrushing Wood. You may have seen me in a symposium in your area over the last several years. I carry GREX airbrush products, including airbrushes, airbrush accessories, a standalone compressor, and some of GREX's air tools that can be used in the woodworking world. What I'm going to show you now is a little bit about the airbrushes that I sell. The three airbrushes that I offer are the Genesis XGi3-ES, the Genesis XGi, and the Tritium TG, Genesis TG. Here's the differences between these brushes. First of all of these brushes have some common parts. That makes this an excellent system for somebody that might have more than one airbrush. For example, on every airbrush, a needle, a nozzle, and a nozzle cover are the three parts that produce the spray pattern. Those three parts are identical on all three brushes. So you can use one set of parts as replacement parts for all of those pieces. Secondly, the cups are removable and interchangeable on these brushes. So again, if you need an extra cup, it can be used on any of these brushes. They're all interchangeable. Beyond that, let me tell you the differences about the brush. The Genesis XGi3-ES, ES stands for essential, is a base model but professional grade airbrush. This brush offers complete control of your airbrush painting as a dual action brush. Dual action brushes are strongly recommended for anybody that's going to be painting. Dual action means that there's one trigger motion, in this case for a traditional airbrush, down that turns on the air, and back that turns on the paint. This brush has a needle travel control knob, as do all of these brushes. And what this allows you to do is limit how far back you can pull the trigger when painting. If, for example, you're painting a number of very fine lines, think of a feather, for example, this would allow you to maintain a very fine paint pattern without accidentally pulling the trigger too far back and getting an overspray of paint. As I mentioned, the cup is removable, and the ES model comes standard with the 7mm cup. Moving on to the XGi brush, this brush is identical to this brush with some additions. It includes an ergonomic grip for comfort. I find personally that I put this grip on almost all of my airbrushes that are a traditional style, GREX or otherwise, because it's so comfortable to use. It comes with 3 paint cups. It comes with a 2ml cup, a 7ml cup, and a 15ml cup. This gives you a complete range of options for using the brush. Finally, the Tritium brush is a pistol style triggering mechanism, but still dual action. It has 2 springs in line. One spring, I call it the soft spring, turns the air on first. Then when you hit the stiff spring, pushing further back, you turn on the paint. So you have air on, paint off, air off. Again, it comes with all 3 cups. All of these airbrushes come with an appropriate wrench for changing the needle on and off. In addition to these features that are standard, these brushes can be accessorized in a couple ways. For example, if you're going to be spraying a lot of material, you could change any one of these cups off to a 50 milliliter cup or even a monster 125 milliliter cup. This cup works on all of 3 of these airbrushes. Personally, I use this cup on the Tritium brush. And that gives me a well-balanced mini spray gun comparable to a large spray gun that you might use for painting, say on a car or a motorcycle helmet or something like that. I use this for large amounts of material such as lacquer. Another feature that is an accessory that's very nice is when you take the nozzle cover off of the airbrush, you can add on what's called a fan tip nozzle cover. And what this fan tip does is it converts the airbrush into a mini spray gun. You notice that, see if I can make it show a little better there with the light. It has the horns similar to what you have on a, let's see if that works a little better. There you go. It has horns that allow you to shape the airbrush pattern coming out of the brush. Typical airbrushes spray a cone of paint. When it hits the surface at a perpendicular angle, you see a circle of paint. With the airbrush fan tip, it compresses one dimension, either the vertical or the horizontal dimension, to give you a wider, narrower band of paint. So that, let's say you're spraying a finish where you need a wide spray, this allows you to shape it. Simply by turning this, you can have a vertical or a horizontal or even a diagonal spray pattern. Finally, all of these brushes have interchangeable parts for the needle and nozzle and the nozzle cover. While they all come with a 0.3 needle, nozzle cover, very good starting system, you can add a 0.2 needle, nozzle and nozzle cover. You can add a 0.5 or a 0.7. I personally use the 0.2 when I spray dyes sometimes and when I spray inks because it is so runny. I don't need as much material. When I'm spraying lacquer or something with a heavier body, I often switch to a 0.7 needle or a 0.5 needle and the fan tip to allow for a larger volume of material. Most of my airbrush painting is done with acrylic paints, and the 0.3 needle that comes standard with all of these brushes works great for that. If you have any questions about airbrushes, please feel free to contact me. I will be online throughout the symposium, or contact me through my website at airbrushingwood.com. Thanks for coming.